There is one Greek word for the devil, and it tells you everything about how he works. The word is diabolos. It does not mean monster. It does not mean horns or fire or a red figure with a pitchfork. It means slanderer, one who throws something across the room to break the thing in the middle. And the thing he throws every single time is a lie. He has been doing it since the beginning. And once you can hear the pattern, you will start to recognize his voice in your own head. Because here is what most people never notice. The devil does not have new material. He has one lie. He has told it 1,000 ways to 1,000 people across thousands of years. And it is always underneath the exact same sentence. God is holding out on you. God is not as good as he says he is. You would be better off deciding for yourself. That is the whole script. That is the entire weapon. And by the end of this video, you are going to be able to spot it the moment it starts. This is not a story about a creature with a tail. This is not a story about horror movies. This is not a story about superstition. This is a story about the oldest argument ever made against your own God, and the answer that buried it for good. Let us go back to the garden. A man and a woman are standing in a place where nothing has ever gone wrong. There is no shame here, no fear, no funerals. They walk with God in the cool of the day the way you would walk with your closest friend. And into that perfect place comes a voice. It does not shout. It does not threaten. It asks a question. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Read that again. He does not start with a command. He does not start with a curse. He starts with a question about what God said. And notice, he gets it slightly wrong on purpose. God never said they could not eat from any tree. God gave them a garden full of yes and one single no. But the serpent shrinks the whole thing down to the one no, and he hangs a question mark on it. Did God really say? That is move number one. It is the oldest move he has. He never opens with a lie you can catch. He opens with a question that makes you doubt the goodness behind the rule. He wants you to look at the one closed door and forget the 1,000 open ones. He wants the rule to feel like a cage instead of a fence. And it works. Eve answers, and you can already hear the damage. She repeats the rule, but she adds to it. She says they cannot even touch the tree, which God never said. The question has already done its work. The goodness of God is now blurry to her. The fence already feels a little like a cage. So the serpent goes to move number 2, the flat denial. You will not surely die. This is the moment the mask comes off, but only a little. God said one thing. The serpent says the opposite. And he does it with total confidence, as if he knows something she does not, as if he has read the fine print and she has not. You will not surely die. In other words, God lied to you. God exaggerated. God is keeping you small. And then move number 3, the one that ties it all together. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God. There it is. The real accusation, not just God lied. God is threatened by you. God is keeping the good thing for himself. God does not want you to rise. He wants you to stay under his thumb. You feel the shape of it now? The question that blurs the goodness. The denial that calls God a liar. The promotion that says you would be better off in charge. 3 moves. One lie underneath all of it. God is holding out on you. Eve looks at the tree. The fruit looks good. It looks wise. It looks like freedom. And she takes it. And the man standing right beside her, who heard the whole exchange and said nothing, takes it too. The lights go out in the garden that day, but the lie does not die with them. It just goes looking for someone new. Move forward to a man named Job. He is the richest man in the East. He has 10 children and a faith that everyone around him admires. And one day, in a scene Job himself never gets to see, the accuser walks into the presence of God and makes his case. And listen to the lie he tells this time, because it is the same lie in a brand new coat. Does Job fear God for nothing? That is the whole accusation. He is not saying Job is wicked. He is saying Job's love is fake. He is saying the only reason Job worships God is because God pays him to. Take away the blessing, the accuser says, and Job will curse you to your face. In other words, nobody really loves you, God. They love your stuff. Your goodness is a bribe. Do you hear it? It is Eden again. God is holding out on you, he told Eve. God is only holding on to you with bribes, he tells God about Job. Same lie. The slanderer always attacks the goodness of God and the motive of the person. He cannot create. He can only twist what is already there. And here is the grief of Job's story. God lets the accusation be tested. In one day, Job loses his oxen, his servants, his camels, and then his children, all 10, in a single collapsing house. Personal stakes became family stakes in the space of an afternoon. And Job, sitting in ashes, scraping his sores with a piece of broken pottery, does the one thing the devil swore he would never do. He does not curse God, he worships. The lie said his faith was a transaction. His grief proved it was a covenant. The devil bet everything on the idea that Job only loved the gifts. And Job, with everything stripped away, still reached for the giver. Stay with me, because the lie does not stop. It just changes targets again. Now picture a prophet named Elijah. He has just won the greatest victory of his life. Fire fell from heaven in front of an entire nation. The false prophets are routed. By every measure, he should be untouchable. And the very next thing that happens is that Elijah runs into the wilderness, sits down under a solitary tree, and asks God to let him die. What happened? A lie happened. And this one did not come dressed as a serpent or an accuser in a courtroom. It came as a thought in his own voice in the dark. I am the only one left. Nobody else is faithful. It is all on me, and I cannot carry it. That is the lie of isolation, and it might be the most common one the devil tells today. You are alone. No one else understands. No one else is struggling like this. You are the only one. And the terrible power of it is that it does not feel like an attack. It feels like a fact. It feels like your own conclusion. And how does God answer it? Not with a lecture. He feeds Elijah. He lets him sleep. And then, in a cave on a mountain, after wind and earthquake and fire, God speaks in a low whisper and tells him the truth that kills the lie. You are not the only one. I have 7,000 who have not bowed. The number was always bigger than the prophet's fear. The lie said 1. The truth said 7,000. Quick word before we go on. If this kind of close, original language look at scripture is meeting you somewhere, consider subscribing and becoming a member. That support is what makes work like this possible. And to those of you who already stand behind this channel, thank you. You are part of every line we write. Now, back to it. Because we have seen the pattern 3 times now, and you are starting to feel the thread underneath all of it. The devil does not have an army of arguments. He has one accusation, and he keeps retailoring it. And to see how deep it goes, we need to walk into the strangest courtroom in the Bible. The prophet Zechariah is given a vision. A man named Joshua, the high priest of Israel, is standing before the angel of the Lord, and he is wearing filthy clothes. The prophet's word for them is the crudest word for filth in the language. This is the holiest man in the nation, and he is standing in the presence of God, covered in his own failure. And there, at his right hand, stands the accuser, the Satan. The Hebrew word literally means the one who stands against you. And what is he doing? Exactly what his name says. He is pointing at the filth. He is reading the charges. He is saying, look at him. Look what he has done. He has no right to stand here. And every word of it is true. That is the terrifying thing about this lie. It is not false. The clothes really are filthy. The sins really are real. The accuser does not need to make anything up here. He just reads the record out loud. And the lie underneath the true facts is this. Therefore, God should reject you. Therefore, you are finished. Therefore, there is no way back. And then God speaks 4 words that break the entire case. The Lord rebuke you, not the man, the accuser. And then, in front of everyone, God strips off the filthy clothes and dresses Joshua in clean garments and places a clean turban on his head. The charges were true. The verdict was mercy. The accuser had the facts. God had the final word. Sit with that. Because the next time the voice in your head reads you your own record and tells you that you are too far gone, remember that being accurate and being right are not the same thing. The devil can be accurate about your past. He is always a liar about your future. But it gets stranger because there is one place in the Gospels where the lie comes out of the mouth of a friend. Jesus has just told his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer and die. And Peter, loyal, loud, well-meaning Peter, pulls him aside and says, "Never, Lord. This will never happen to you. It sounds like love. It sounds like loyalty." And Jesus turns and says the harshest words he ever spoke to a follower. "Get behind me, Satan." Why so severe? Because Jesus heard it. Underneath the loyal words was the oldest lie in the garden. There is an easier way. You do not have to suffer. God would not really ask that of you. Take the shortcut. And Jesus recognized the accent immediately. The slanderer was using a friend's voice, and the lie was the same lie it had always been. God is holding out on you. There must be a better road. Which brings us finally to the showdown the entire Bible was building toward. Because everything so far has been the devil attacking people. Now, for the first and only time, he comes face to face with God in the flesh. And he brings out his complete arsenal. All 3 moves fired in sequence. Jesus is in the wilderness. He has not eaten for 40 days. He is hungry in a way most of us will never know. And the tempter comes to him. Move 1, the question that blurs God's goodness. If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Listen to the if. It is Eden all over again. Did God really say? Are you really who the voice at your baptism said you were? Prove it. Doubt it. The devil wants Jesus to feel that his Father's provision is not enough, that he must take matters into his own hands. And how does Jesus answer? He does not argue. He does not negotiate. He reaches for one weapon, and it is the only weapon he uses all 3 times. It is written. In Greek, a single word, gagraptai. It means it stands written, it is settled. It is permanently on the record. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. The devil twisted what God said. Jesus answered with what God actually said. The lie was an edit. The answer was the original. Move 2, the denial dressed as a dare. The devil takes him to the pinnacle of the temple and says, "Throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you." And notice, now the devil quotes scripture. He learned. He saw the weapon Jesus used, and he picked up a copy of it. But he does what he always does. He edits. He pulls a promise out of its context and bends it into a stunt. And Jesus answers with the original again. It is written, "Do not put the Lord your God to the test. You cannot beat the truth by quoting half of it." And then move 3, the one he has been building to since the garden, the promotion. The devil shows him all the kingdoms of the world in their glory and says, "All this I will give you if you will bow down and worship me." There it is, the exact lie from Eden, now offered to God himself. You can have it all. You can have the crown without the cross. You can be like God without obeying God. Skip the suffering. Skip the cross. Take the shortcut to the throne. And Jesus answers the way he answered every time. "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." 3 lies, 3 answers. And every answer was the same. Not a clever comeback, not a new philosophy, just this is what God already said. The whole defense was the truth, held steady, refusing to bend. The devil had nothing left, and the text says he departed until an opportune time. That opportune time came at a hill called Golgotha. Here is the open loop from the beginning of this video, and here is where it closes. I told you the devil never invents. He only edits. He takes what God said and shaves off a corner until it points the wrong way. And at the cross, he tries it one final time, through the mouths of the crowd. They look up at a dying man and they shout the last temptation. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. Save yourself. If you are the Son of God, the same if from the wilderness, the same if from the garden, save yourself. The same shortcut, the same God is holding out on you, the same you do not have to suffer. It was the oldest lie, fired one last time at the worst moment into the deepest pain. And the answer this time was not a verse spoken out loud. The answer was silence. The answer was a man who could have saved himself and chose not to. Because if he saved himself, he could not save you. The lie said, come down. Love kept him up there. Read that again. The devil said, save yourself. And the only way to answer that lie forever was to refuse to. Now let me bring this all the way home into the only room that matters, which is the inside of your own head. Because you have heard this voice, I promise you have. It does not come with horns. It comes at 3 a.m. in your own voice, sounding exactly like your own thoughts. God does not really care about you. If he did, this would not be happening. Everyone else has it together, and you are the only one falling apart. You have gone too far this time. There is no way back for someone like you. Do you hear what that is now? That is not insight. That is not honesty. That is the oldest lie in existence wearing your accent. God is holding out on you. You are alone. You are finished. The accent changes. The lie never does. And now you know what to do with it. Not argue, not negotiate. You answer it the way the only person who ever beat it answered it, with what God already said. The serpent said God is holding out. Job lost everything and found that God himself was the gift. The accuser said your record disqualifies you. Joshua stood in filth and walked out in clean robes. The whisper said you are the only one. Elijah heard there were 7,000 more. The friend said there is an easier way. Jesus chose the hard road on purpose. The crowd said, save yourself. And the Son of God did not save himself. He saved us. That is the thread. That is the one sentence underneath every story in this video. Every lie the devil tells is the same lie wearing a new coat, that God is holding out on you. And it is always answered the same way with what God already said. The accuser has no new material, and you are not unarmed. So here are the 3 things to carry out of this. First, the factual one. The devil is not creative. He has 1 lie and 3 moves. Blur the goodness, deny the word, promise the shortcut. Once you know the pattern, half his power is gone, because a trick only works in the dark. Second, the personal one. When the voice comes for you, it will not feel like an attack. It will feel like your own thought, your own conclusion, the obvious truth. That is the disguise. The most dangerous lies are the ones that sound like your own voice. Learn to ask one question. Does this sound like the God I actually know? Or does it sound like God is holding out on me? And third, the one that goes deepest. The accuser will always be able to read you your record accurately. He will always have the facts. But there is a difference between the one who reads the charges and the one who hands down the verdict. And the verdict over your life was not spoken by the accuser standing at your right hand. It was spoken by a man who refused to come down off a cross so that the record against you could be torn up for good. So here is the question I want to leave hanging in the air, and I am not going to answer it for you. If the loudest voice in your head at 3 a.m. is a liar, and after everything we just walked through, you know that it is, then whose voice are you going to believe instead? Which of these lies has been loudest in your own life lately? The isolation one? The you have gone too far one? The there is an easier way one? Leave a comment, even just one word. I read them. Subscribe if this changed the way you hear that voice. Share this with someone who is sitting in the dark right now, believing the accuser instead of the verdict. And may the God who answered every lie with a single, steady truth meet you in the middle of yours and speak the last word over your life. God bless you.